Welcome back, ladies and gents. You are still watching Banking on African Leaders, and I'm with the Managing Director of BMF, Mr. Monde Ndlovu. Welcome to Banking on African Leaders, Butwami.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Please tell me about today's event. How do you feel about it?
How do I feel about it?
How do you feel about it?
So now look, dialoguing is important. And yes, it depending on what is being discussed, it can evoke different feelings about whatever is being discussed.
Yes.
But I think what's critical from a feeling perspective is that one, there was a good turnout of young professionals, firstly, which is good to come through, which means they want to take this thing seriously.
Yes.
So that's very important. They must be commended that they came out in good numbers to come and interact with colleagues, interact with the leadership that's there, interact with the subject matter somewhat, and share, exchange, and learn from one another. So I truly feel that it was good for them to come out. And maybe secondly, that we could have stayed in there for another hour or so. It just shows you that the issues are so many, so specific, so urgent. As well, but at the same time, we have a specific role to play. We can't solve all the problems. But for the mere fact that the BMF and sponsored by Weber Wenzel able to bring the colleagues together and bring the deputy minister as well into the room, which is good. Great start. It's a vote of confidence in BMF. It's a vote of confidence all around that we can call very senior leaders in the country.
Absolutely.
And they can make time to come and engage the Black Management Forum. And so I'm feeling, maybe lastly, third, very hopeful around these dialogues and where they must go.
And it is a very important time for young people. It's Youth Month.
Oh, yes.
What does it feel like to be engaging on these important dialogues where you are setting a trend for young people, for young people's tomorrow? That's how I see the BMF dialogue events, which I have attended. How does it feel to be a young leader during this month?
Sure. I think it's quite a plethora of feelings. How does it feel to be a young person this month? You've got to look at then the context which you are in, both in the country, even globally now, because now there's geopolitical movements, etc. Then there's also G20, which is taking place, and so many other 20s in between.
Yes.
T20, Civic 20, B20, V20, what 20, My 20.
All 20.
All 20, right? And it's important to interrogate the 20 issue.
Yes.
Because it's part of the context to say, how does it feel to be a young person, or how can it feel to be a young person today in Youth Month? The other thing about how should young people be feeling, you're not talking, as much as young people are a segment in our society, but even within the young people space, there's different kinds of young people, there's different communities of young people that interact at different levels. So you're talking to a plethora of different young people in the month of June. So who are you talking to? When you're young people, are you talking about teenagers? Because they experience South Africa in a particular way. Even within that context, even from a class perspective, you're talking to different young people who see South Africa completely different, just teenagers. Then you move to those university and technical colleges, etc., if they're even able to get into those spaces, right? So there's those in there who have a completely different view because of the exposure that they now have at a varsity level or TVET level of the kind of South Africa that you're now interacting with as you accessing these specific places. Those who have not accessed those places, who happen to be young, also have a completely different view of South Africa. Same age, one's in varsity, the other one is in TVET, the other one is not in any of those two. They're experiencing South Africa completely different. Then there's another one, same age, not in those spaces, but maybe trying entrepreneurship. Again, completely different perspective. So I'm raising these different layers because it's a layered question, and the answer is equally layered because the young people that we're talking about, even amongst them, there's a completely different.
They're spread across.
They spread across in terms of experience, expectation, ambition, understanding of things as well. And we also know in the specific constituents of young people in South Africa, I mean, we're going to July, which is Mandela.
Mandela Month.
You start celebrating Mandela. Others want nothing to do with Mandela, right? So there's different nuances of what it means to be young in South Africa, what it should mean. But maybe at the heart of it, to try and really simplify it, is that being youthful is brings about opportunity. It's an opportunity to shape something.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily have to be business, doesn't have to be politics or policy, doesn't have to be leadership and management in corporate formally, but you have the opportunity, because you have the opportunity of time and energy. And depending on your current context and environment, which can be an enabler or disabler to opportunity, etc. But being young is really a graceful opportunity to shape something. Doesn't even have to be a massive thing, but exciting the minds of young people about something, and amongst themselves having those conversations. What can we do to shape something in South Africa? And there's, again, when you look at what young people have shaped historically in South Africa, whether you're talking about Fees Must Fall, whether you're talking about 76 as well. If you don't stop, I'm going to keep talking. Eh?
No, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it because that's what we're here for.
Okay.
We're here to open a platform for young people to feel inclusive, which was today's dialogue. It's about inclusive growth.
Yep.
So it's great when you give it to us, all of it.
Yeah. So I mean, you look at I was going to the example of 76, and you listen to Etieti Mashinini, who led that, one of the key leaders of 76. You listen to his level of articulation as a student leader, right? Not even varsity or young professional. He wasn't there. He was a student. You listen to the level of not just articulation, but the level of understanding of how society works and what impacts the economy. And hence, they first started by saying, parents, let's do a stay away, right? Stay away from economic, don't go to work. And of course, then they had very progressive teachers as well, and political activists like the great Tiro, right? The role Tiro played in educating, amongst others, young people about the state of the country, what can happen, what should happen, and they took a leaf out of all those guys' books. Again, the 70s, massive pushback ideologically, black consciousness, right? Our minds matter. That's how I understand, because your mind matters. Your mind has value. Your dreams are valid. They are valuable. Your body is valuable. You have a contribution to make. Don't sell your mind, because it's a powerful weapon to change the country. So all of that is happening in the context of the 70s. And here you have young people able to articulate at that age, in that context. So historically, when you look back and then you look forward, there should not be a reason why a teenager is unable to understand and articulate and be exposed to not just the political environment, but the economic environment. So when you listen to Tsetsi's interviews at that age, and that stuff is there on YouTube.
It is.
You listen and hey, really, this is not a function of wealth. You don't have to have money in order to articulate. And articulation does not necessarily mean speaking good English, or good Zulu, or good Swati, or good, whatever is your home language, or Sutu, etc. No. Articulation means you are able to express your views clearly. Not your tone is palatable to the listener.
Yes.
It's your ability to articulate clearly, and someone is able to understand what you are saying, and you can take them through. Then again, of course, that is a function as well of understanding your own mother tongue, etc. And one of the pluses of the other side, the flip side of apartheid, I mean, we black people today, we can speak Afrikaans very well. We can speak English very well.
Yes.
It comes out of our ears, right? We can write it very well. That shows the level of adaptability that we have, in any case, as Africans in particular,
yes.
As well. So, wow, being young, massive opportunity,
yes.
As well. And, this, so every year, Youth Month, the cadence of the youth voice needs to deepen and get stronger as well. We've seen in the past couple of years other youth formations come through, like your South African Youth Economic Council, as an example. Those young people that came through, and look at what they've built, around focusing on economic matters as young people. And of course, once they break 35, they have to leave that organization to other young people, right? But it's good to see that there are young people in the country, throughout the country, who are active, trying to do something. Because guaranteed, there's another young person sitting somewhere in the country thinking exactly the same thing. And it is platforms like these, BMF and others, that can bring young people together, should bring young people together, because we also have student chapters, by the way. So it's not just the young professionals.
Oh.
We've got student chapters, and our students as well have got a footprint across the country. So there's BMF in institutions of higher learning as well. So that's very, very important as well. So this platform is very critical, and being young is an enjoyable phase. Enjoy being young, enjoy your time, enjoy celebrating the contributions of other young people, connecting the past to the present, and doing what you can do to connect to the future through these platforms and many others which are coming about. The country has opened up quite a bit in terms of reaching out, social media, unbelievable ability to connect. There's so much happening there. And young people, can see young people are utilizing those platforms. Even the podcast, you're seeing young people coming through. So you can see that there's movement, young people taking responsibility for their citizenship, and no one can force you to take responsibility. You must take personal responsibility.
Sure.
So beyond June, and that's the other thing, beyond June, you're still a young person. Beyond June, you still have a contribution.
Yes.
So there is a beyond June responsibility for all of us, that young people are an important cog in this movement, in shifting of these gears, of making South Africa into a globally competitive economy, but also a world-renowned society that is anchored on values such as Ubuntu, which is one of our fortes.
That's who we are.
That's who we are. And again, it's Biko who did say that, yeah, the West has given us this, yeah, the East has given the world this, but the South has the opportunity, putting in my own words, the opportunity to give the world a more human face.
And we do have it.
And we do have it. So taking full advantage of the ability to humanize the world, to humanize geopolitics, to humanize the global economy, to humanize systems, because it's definitely within our DNA. Let me stop.
Well, I'm happy with it. With what the Young Professionals has done over the last 49 years, are you part of the round table for the G20, the youth, to be specific?
As BMF specifically?
Yes, as BMF specifically, because I believe that's where you also should be. You need to be part of the roundtable dialogues. Are you guys part of it?
Well, at the moment, we don't have direct involvement in terms of the Y20 specifically. But as I said, there's so much happening with the 20s this year in general. There's lots of moving parts as well, but BMF remains a key player in terms of our society as well, and trying to interact with those structures. Because even Y20, it's only recently that they actually configured themselves. So everyone is still, everyone is still trying to find their feet,
yes.
in terms of what exactly they want to do and what the input is going to be around that. But in terms of interfacing with government, I mean those doors are open in terms from a BMF perspective. Okay. We had the deputy minister here.
Yes.
So it's a prime example of the mutual respect government has for BMF. Because of its historical contribution to South Africa and its ongoing contribution. So government definitely respects BMF, and when we call government, almost any department, they'll always make a plan to send a representative, or based on whatever we want to discuss, whether it's dialogues or conferences, there's always government representation there, sometimes even at a very senior executive level. The president or the deputy president of the republic can even come and open our conference. So the relationship between BMF and government really dates back to pre-94 in terms of how BMF was shaping the thought process on how do we transform the country. But yes, your question is critical. What role are we playing in the Y20 specifically?
Yes.
And of course, it's something we need to look into and how we can influence Y20 specifically. But there's other 20s as well in which we can play a role. Then there's still also our own program as the organization. So everyone is busy. All the NPOs are busy.
Nice.
People really trying to touch the issues that they have defined as important.
Yes.
And work together with people that share that view of level of importance or whatever issues that they want to drive. But there needs to be, and maybe the national dialogue, there's a lot of criticism with the national dialogue. Will the national dialogue give us a blueprint, a collective blueprint, an agreeable blueprint where people can commit to this is the society we want and we are going to do the following? That is the bottom line. And I think beyond G20 and beyond all the 20s, that national dialogue is going to be very critical. I know there's a national convention that's going to take place in August, which will then set the agenda for the dialogue, etc. So ongoing engagements with a variety of stakeholders in our society. And of course, we want to make a contribution there in terms of our view as BMF to that process and playing a key role. But that, it will either be impactful or not. There's no middle ground now where the country is today around dialoguing at that level. Are we actually going to agree on the key tenets of what's going to transform our country or not? And there shouldn't be compromise positions. We shouldn't hear the word compromise, because our country really needs collective movement.
Sure.
And specific movement.
Yes.
Because not all movement is progressive.
Sure. Specific movements.
I
love that.
Movement.
Well, Mr. Ndlovu, Bongatina Gakulu, thank you for joining us on Banking on African Leaders. We are definitely banking on BMF, and which is why we are here. It's always a great pleasure to be here and be in the room full of young people who have solutions. They have solutions and they are seeking for answers from our leadership, and I love the fact that we also bring solutions. So may you guys continue the great work, and we will share all the details on how to become a member of BMF. It's very important and critical for you so that your voices are heard. You are still listening to Banking on African Leaders with myself, Lerato Qwabe. Thank you so much, sir.
Bongamena.
Bongamina.